Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. So in this video, we are going to go over my monthly setup for my April budget, including my monthly layout and my actual monthly budget and my first week budget. I have to say, I did film myself decorating this monthly layout, but I had some lighting issues. So if I can't fix those lighting issues in edit, you may have seen a collage of me putting this monthly together in the beginning of this video with a voiceover. So I won't spend a lot of time rehashing what this is. You probably have already heard it. But this is just the monthly layout. I did use the Kelly Plan Birthday Flowers combined with the Live Love Posh Budget Babe book. So I love it. I'm excited about it. If you have been following me, you know Q2 is bringing a lot of changes to my budget. Some of the main changes is pulling my business income and my business expenses out of my personal budget. And so that means how I disperse my money throughout the month is going to change a lot. And I'll talk about that more in the weekly. But as far as it relates to my monthly, I've actually put some stickers in here to remind myself of when I need to make some of those business transfers so that I can make sure that money is in my business account. I am also doing a variable transfer twice a month now because my 9-to-5 pays bi-weekly. And I was using my business income to help supplement my weekly payouts. And I don't want to do that anymore because I want all of my business income to go into my business accounts as they are supposed to. So that means I have to be way more diligent on how I use my digital cash envelopes and making sure I transfer money into those envelopes. So I have some activities in my planner that remind me of when I need to do that. And they're generally around my paydays because, again, I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it. So that's what this is about. I'm excited about this month, and I will come in here later and fill in these bill amounts and due dates. Okay, so let's get into April. So one thing I will say about making this change, which I'm super excited about this change, let me be really clear. But it is going to take a few weeks to get used to it, probably the whole month of April of actually going through the new process to figure out how I want to make payouts to myself. Do I still want to do it weekly? Do I want to do it bi-weekly? I don't really like bi-weekly. I would prefer to do it a set amount of times per month, either once per month, 4 times per month, or 2 times per month. So we will see how that goes. But right now, we're just keeping it simple for the month of April, more to just experience the new process. But as I always do, I come in and I do my April budget. I write down all of my key bills, all of my key expenses, and then whatever additional expenses I am expecting for the month of April. I do have some travel planned for April, so that is an additional expense. You notice here I am putting my business deposits and business variables as an additional expense instead of breaking all of that down in my regular expense section, which is what I used to do. I'm no longer doing that. So now we get into my monthly cash flow, and this is nowhere near as complete as I usually have this when I start a month. But the reason for that is what I just said earlier, and that is I am taking a little bit slower this month, 1 week at a time, so that I can figure out the best system for me in this new world of not including my business revenue here. So right now I have some stuff for the week of April 1st. Most of my bills are actually coming out the week of April 7th. And then I don't even know what April 14th is going to look like. That week I will actually be on vacation. That's probably the main reason it's empty. And then April 21st, I have really all of my end of the month type bills. So I'm just still kind of taking it a little bit slower, trying to figure out how to adjust. What I will say to you guys here, and this is just kind of like, you know, a public service announcement, because so many people do budget planners and budget videos. And I have said this before on my channel, so I'm just taking a minute to kind of reiterate that. It's really, really important that you figure out a system that works for you. And that's something that I have fully embraced as I do budget planning. I've always embraced it, actually. I love to look at budget videos and other people's budgets and how they do it to get ideas for myself. And then I customize those ideas to work for my particular situation. And I just want to take a moment and remind people of that, because I think it's easy to say, well, Eva does it this way or somebody else does it this way, so I'm going to try exactly that. And exactly that may not work for you. And that's okay. And so I just want to make sure that I always say that whenever I have an opportunity. Always beg, borrow, steal, and customize to work for you, because it's your budget and you need to set up a system that works for your lifestyle. And so don't hesitate to do that, and don't hesitate to change. I look at this and I have a little bit of a type A personality. In my prior months, all of this was filled out at the beginning of the month and I knew exactly what was happening, but I'm making a very important change for my life right now. And so I can't have all of this filled out, and I have to be okay with that. Because I got to figure out a system that really works for me. So I'm so open to change right now. I'm excited about the change, and I think it's going to be amazing. But I'm also realizing that I do need to take it slow and make these customizations based on my actual needs, not what I see on YouTube. So I just wanted to say that because I want everybody to feel comfortable doing that. But anyway, this is my monthly cash flow. For my first week in April, which is the week of April 1st, I typically start my weeks on Monday, but when we have like a rollover day into the next month, so for example, the 31st of March is Monday, I'm not going to start my April planner on March 31st. I'm going to wrap up the whole month of March in March, and then I'm going to start my April month on April 1st. So because of that, or not because of that, but April 1st for the first week, I have my categories here. And it's actually not that much in my categories, which I'm thankful for. But I'm coming off a really big travel period, changing my budget for the month of April, and just figuring out different ways to do things. So we'll see how this works. But I have $50 in grocery, $10 personal, $10 transportation, nothing in entertainment, and $10 eating out. Some of these amounts are much lower than I normally do. The main reason for that is I bought a lot of things the end of March. So I don't really need to keep buying those things at the beginning of April. It'll probably go up the second week in April. But for this week, you know, I kind of bought everything I needed in the end of March. So I don't really need that much coming up for this week. I am doing a planner supply, no spend, habit tracking. Again, I try it every week. I have not been successful for about the past 5 weeks, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll get it. Eventually, I'll have 7 check marks there for a whole week of no planner supplies. It was close last week, but you know, just didn't happen. And then I have my expense tracker over here, and this is where I keep track of my actual expenses for that week. Now, because in Q2, I am being more diligent about transferring my variable budget into my digital envelopes, then you're probably just going to see like a transfer amount show up. And then as I spend out of that variable account, I'll track those over here. So for example, this week, all I need to transfer to my variable account is 50, 67 is $80. That's all I should be spending out of my variable funds. We'll see if that works, but that's all I should be spending. So one of my first expenses, because I'm filming this March 30th, so I haven't started recording expenses yet for April. But one of my first expenses will be transfer to variable, and it'll be $80. Because that is the same process I would do if I was using cash envelopes. The only difference is if I was using cash envelopes, I would go to the bank, withdraw $80, have it broken up into certain types of bills, and I would put it into different envelopes. Well, I don't deal with cash like that. I don't deal with banks like that. So I'm a digital person. I move my money digitally. I can do the exact same thing and represent that in a digital environment. And so that's what this is. To mimic that whole process, instead of going to the bank and withdrawing money, I go to my app, go to my account, and I transfer money from my main account to my variable spending account. So doing the same thing, one is just physically at the bank and the other is using your app. Instead of then separating that money and putting it into different envelopes, I keep track of when I spend that money and I use this as an envelope. You're doing the exact same thing, you're just doing it digitally. That's the digital envelope system. Okay, so expense tracker is set up, and that's all that I really need to set up for the week. What I do want to show you is how I am tracking or keeping track of my business expenses, because as I've said in many videos, Q2, a big change for me is no longer keeping track of my business expenses on the personal side. So what I decided to do is at the back of the month, each month, I have my business transfer pages. Now, in my business transfer pages, I have two kind of informative pages, which I have not filled out yet. And then I have a monthly summary. So in the monthly summary, I'll basically do the same thing that I do for my personal when I do my personal cash flow, right? But this is much more detailed. I don't need to do that for my business, but I do need to just come in and say, oh, Canva, which is for my business, I pay Canva the last week of the month. Oh, I pay Create a Fabric, well, I pay that once a year, but I pay Canva last week of the month. Ancestry, which is for my business. Oh, I pay that the second week of the month. So that's what these 4 boxes represent. It's not complicated. It only takes like 2 minutes to fill out, but I just take my business list and I break it down by week so that I know what to expect. And then I have a monthly business budget where I would just write all those bills down and the budgeted amount. Again, this is nowhere near the level of what I do on my personal business. This is just so that I can keep track of when they are actually paid. At the end of the month, I will take these pages out and transfer them to my business planner. And my business planner, if you did not know, looks like this. It's a classic planner. That's why these are classic sized. So if I go into my business planner, there is a section, I'll just quickly show you, that says finance, right? This is where I keep all my business details, admin stuff. There is a section that says finance. And on the finance section, I have my startup budgets and all of that, but I have a space after my quarterly where I keep track of my monthly budgets. So I'll take April when it's over and just pop it in here. When May is over, I'll take those May transfer pages and pop it in here. And at the end of the year, I will end up with my business budget fully tracked, fully notated. And then that allows me, having these transfer sheets allows me not to have to reference to planners whenever I want to update my expenses, because I see both accounts at the same time at my bank, right? They're both at the same bank. I log in, I see all my accounts in one place. So it wouldn't make sense for me to be going back and forth between 2 to 3 planners, like every time I come in to update my expenses. So that's where the genesis of these transfer pages come from. Just to let you know, I do have these inserts available. They are linked down below if you're interested in my Etsy shop. So that is it for the first week of April. I am really excited to get into planning for this month and this week, and I hope you guys have a great time planning as well. So happy planning to you.